Welcome aboard, Moonwaker. Thank you for joining us tonight on our very first interactive journey, Static in the Hull. You are a lone astronaut out in space who intercepts a broken transmission. Determined to find out what happened, you locate and board the abandoned ship in your EVA suit. The crew is missing, only Static remains. Please do not watch this video from beginning to end. It will not make sense. This is a choose-your-own adventure game that accompanies the short story Static in the Hull, first aired during the Halloween special livestream. If you'd like to hear the full story before playing, you can find the link in the description below. As you go through the game, you will be given choices. You'll have 30 seconds to think about what happens next. When you're ready, your choices are listed in the description box below, sorted alphabetically. Each one will take you to a different branch of the story. If you need more time, just pause the video. The stars will wait for you. Thank you for being here, for stepping aboard and trusting me. Now, settle in. The airlock is sealed, the engines are warm, and the game is about to start. Ready? Let's begin. To start, go ahead and scroll below to the description box and find Let's Begin. As you walk through the ship, you find a frost-rimmed circle glowing faintly on the cabin wall. What do you do? A. Touch it. B. Scan it. C. Leave the cabin. You touch the circle. Even through the EVA suit, it burns your hand with frost. You feel it leaving a mark spreading beneath your skin. A hidden doom timer silently begins to count down. Condition: you're infected. What do you do now? A. Seek help in the medical bay. B. Ignore it for now. You seek help in the medbay. You stagger into the medbay, lights flickering, frost blooming up your wrist. Perhaps freezing it will stop the spread, you think. You shove your arm in the cryo chamber. For a moment, the infection stops moving as the cold temperature halts the spread. What next? A. You stay in the medbay, hoping this will slow or stop the infection. B. Satisfied with a temporary solution, you leave. You stay in the med bay, hoping this will slow or stop the infection. The static you've been hearing is not random. Static pulses through the ship cause the coolant line to break, spilling nitrogen, carbon dioxide vapor that incapacitates you. Within 5 minutes, you collapse into unconsciousness. Death by hypothermia. This is what happened to Morgan in the story. Death by hypothermia. Static continues to buzz in the background. Unbeknownst to you, each pulse makes the coolant line twitch a few degrees hotter, then snap back to cryo cold. Hours of that, and the weld finally sighs apart. A hairline crack hisses. The med bay fills with invisible, ultra-cold gas heavier than air. Your lungs draw in cryogenic nitrogen, carbon dioxide vapor. By the time you realize something is wrong, hypothermia and hypoxia have already scrambled your brain. You stagger, crawl towards the door, condensation and frost clinging to your face. Words collapse into nonsense as your neurons misfire. Suddenly, static hisses through the calm. It echoes through the empty ship, forming broken words and calling your name. What do you do? A. Speak back. B. Smash the comms. C. Make a run for it. You speak back. You answered. The entity now knows you. Suddenly, a wide frost circle appears on the floor, expanding beneath your feet, and swallows you whole. Snatched by the entity. This is what happened to Taurus in the story. Ending. Snatched by the entity. You answered the static through the comms. The moment you spoke, the ship recognized you. So did the entity inside it. Static crawls up through the soles of your boots. The floor vibrates. A perfect frost circle blooms around your feet, the pattern spreading outward, the deck plating whitening, cracking, then rupturing. You try to move, but you can't. The circle expands, hungry for heat. It swallows you whole, drawing you down into a silence colder than vacuum. You smash the comms. The static doesn't stop. Now you hear it inside your head. In response to you smashing comms, the entity gets angry and cuts the oxygen to the ship. Alarms blare while oxygen levels drop. You die in a few hours if you meet the condition your oxygen is running low. Death by suffocation. Otherwise, you can make a run for it. Death by suffocation. The static doesn't stop. It crawls past the comms, past the hole, until you can hear it inside your head, buzzing beneath every thought. You smash the console, sparks scattering like insects, but the noise only deepens. The entity hears you. Alarms erupt through the corridors, their rhythm matching the pulse in your skull. Air vents hiss once, then seal. The hiss becomes silence. You inhale. Nothing. Your lungs convulse, scraping for air that isn't there. The static whispers one last time, soft and satisfied, as you suffocate, chest heaving uselessly in the dark. You make a run for it. The main hallway of the ship breaks off into 3 different directions. Which do you take? A. Escape pod bay. B. Decommissioned cargo bay. C. Shuttle dock, where you parked your spacecraft. You choose the escape pod bay. You reach the escape bay, and the only pod cradle is empty. The escape pod is gone. If you have a status condition, either you die from the infection or suffocation. Death from infection. Death by suffocation. If not, you can go back and choose a different direction. Death from infection. You reach the escape pod bay. The lights are dim, alarms a distant heartbeat. The only pod cradle is empty. The escape pod is gone. You turn to leave, but the infection had already slowed you, burning up your strength. The escape bay was the only place you could crawl to. The mark pulses with the ship's static, each beat colder than the last. Frost creeps up your fingers, black veins spidering toward your chest. The pod cradle blurs, then doubles, then vanishes. The static whispers through your teeth as the infection overtakes you. You fall, trembling, and the dark closes in. Death by suffocation. You reach the escape pod bay. The lights are dim, alarms a distant heartbeat. The only pod cradle is empty. The escape pod is gone. You turn to leave, but your breath staggers. Your oxygen gauge was lost earlier in the struggle. You have no idea how much air is left. You gasp, the breath thin and metallic. Vision tunnels, spots bloom. The pod cradle blurs, then doubles. The static whispers through your teeth as you suffocate, chest heaving uselessly, and the dark closes in. You chose the decommissioned cargo bay. Lucky you! You find that the sealed-off cargo bay still has power trickling through it. You reroute power manually. With the lights on, you see that the maintenance drone craft is near the exit hatch. You get on the craft, cycle the hatch open, and eject the craft. It launches into space. You're home free. Maybe? If you have an unresolved status condition, Godspeed. Ending. Success. You find the sealed-off cargo bay still humming faintly, just enough power trickling through the old conduits to give you hope. You pry open a junction box, reroute the current by hand, and the overhead lights flicker to life. Dust and frost drift like ghosts in the beam. At the far end of the bay sits a maintenance drone craft, half buried in debris but intact, its running lights blinking weakly. You climb in, fingers shaking, seal the canopy, and cycle the hatch. The outer doors grind apart with a metallic sigh. The craft jolts, then launches into the stars. You choose the shuttle dock where you parked your spacecraft. The smell of burnt metal and insulation hits you. The ship's warning lights pop one by one like dying stars. Static hisses through the comms, frying your ship's system. You yank a new oxygen tank from the wall mount. Condition cured if you lack oxygen. You don't wait to watch your shuttle die. You run down the access corridor, boots slamming metal, the static following you like a heartbeat. Choose a different direction. You scan the circle. Your device shorts out, but you hear static, whispering coordinates echo through the empty ship. What do you do? A. Follow the coordinates. B. It's a trap, you think. You ignore it. You follow the coordinates. You discover a half-frozen crewmate from the ship's previous crew, whispering nonsense. The half-frozen crewmate tries to grab you. You manage to break free, but drop your oxygen gauge in the struggle. Condition: your oxygen is running low. Onwards. You leave the cabin. As you leave, you lock the door behind you. The frost circle appears on the door of the cabin as you lock it. As you turn, you realize the mark is on every wall around you in the room. Condition: you are now directly targeted. What do you do? A. Yell for help. B. Run for it. You yell for help. There's no response. You realize you're completely alone on the ship. On a table nearby, you find the past crew logs. The logs describe a slow descent into madness caused by an unknown entity. You take the logs as evidence. Condition, you've gained knowledge. Onwards with the logs. Suddenly, static hisses through the calm. It echoes through the empty ship, forming broken words and calling your name. What do you do? A. Speak back. B. Smash the comms. C. Make a run for it. D. Hidden option. You have crew logs. Speak back and try to bargain with the entity by offering the crew logs in exchange for your safe departure. You speak back and try to bargain with the entity by offering the crew logs in exchange for your safe departure. The entity accepts. It knows taking the logs reveals its secret and will eventually obliterate it. The entity directs you to the decommissioned cargo bay after you put down the crew logs. To the decommissioned cargo bay.